Weeks after the rescue operation, Salma and Bisi struggled to adjust to their new roles at the NGO. Every day brought a mix of hope and heartache as they worked with survivors, listening to stories that mirrored their own. One afternoon, Salma found herself drawn to Zainab, who was settling into her new life. Watching her practice reading with other children filled Salma with pride, but also a nagging sense of guilt. "What if we hadn't stopped in time?" she whispered to Bisi one evening. Bisi, who had thrown herself into work as a coping mechanism, dismissed Salma's doubts. "We did what we had to do," she said firmly. But at night, in the privacy of her small apartment, Bisi's nightmares returned. The traffickers' threats, the violence, and the girls they couldn't save. Unbeknownst to Salma and Bisi, the trafficker had powerful allies. One evening, as Salma closed the NGO office, she noticed a car idling across the street. Its headlights flicked on the moment she stepped outside. She quickened her pace, her heart pounding, and ducked into an alley. The car followed. A man stepped out, his face obscured by shadows, and warned her in a low voice. "Stay out of this, or you'll regret it." Shaken, Salma shared the incident with Bisi and Amara. "We need to be careful," Amara said, her brow furrowed. "They won't let this go easily, but we're not backing down." Determined to dismantle the trafficking ring, the NGO began investigating its roots. Salma and Bisi volunteered to infiltrate a new recruitment scheme rumored to be targeting a nearby community. Disguised as workers from a fake employment agency, they posed as recruiters to gain the trust of the traffickers. The operation was risky, and every interaction with the ring's enforcers felt like walking a tightrope. During one meeting, Salma recognized a face she thought she'd never see again. A woman named Amina, who had been trafficked alongside her years ago. Amina, now working as a recruiter for the ring, looked worn but defiant. Their eyes met briefly, and Salma knew she had to find a way to reach her. Salma arranged a secret meeting with Amina, convincing her that the NGO could help her escape the ring. Amina was hesitant. "You think I have a choice?" she said bitterly. "They own me." But as Salma shared her own story of breaking free, Amina's defenses began to crumble. "If we do this," Amina said, her voice trembling, "you need to promise me they'll never find me." Salma promised, though she knew the risk. With Amina's help, they uncovered crucial details about the network's operations, including a warehouse where trafficked girls were being held. Armed with Amina's intel, Amara coordinated with law enforcement for a raid on the warehouse. Salma and Bisi joined as undercover operatives, posing as clients to gain access. The scene inside was harrowing. Rows of girls locked in makeshift cages, their eyes hollow with fear. Salma fought to maintain her composure as she signaled the authorities. When the raid began, chaos erupted. The traffickers fought back fiercely, and Salma and Bisi found themselves caught in the crossfire. In the midst of the chaos, Bisi spotted a young girl trying to hide. She shielded the child with her own body, narrowly avoiding a blow from one of the traffickers. The raid was a success, with dozens of girls rescued and key members of the network arrested. However, the victory was bittersweet. Amina, who had risked everything to help, was nowhere to be found. Salma and Bisi feared the worst until they received a cryptic message days later. "Safe. Thank you." The rescued girls were taken to safe houses, where they began their journey to recovery. Among them was a 16-year-old named Fatih, who had been trafficked for years. She clung to Salma, calling her sister. Fatih's resilience inspired Salma and Bisi to keep fighting, even as the dangers grew. The NGO's success made it a target. One night, their office was vandalized, and Amara received anonymous threats. The traffickers were regrouping, and they wanted revenge. Amara urged Salma and Bisi to lie low, but they refused. "If we stop now, they win," Bisi said firmly. The women worked tirelessly to strengthen the NGO's security, recruit more allies, and continue their mission. Months later, the NGO received a tip about a high-ranking trafficker planning to expand operations into neighboring countries. Salma and Bisi, along with Amara, devised a plan to expose him during a public event. The operation was fraught with suspense. Disguised as journalists, Salma and Bisi infiltrated the event, secretly recording incriminating conversations. When the trafficker realized he was being exposed, he tried to flee. Bisi tackled him, her pent-up rage and determination boiling over. The authorities arrived just in time to arrest him. With the network's leader behind bars, the NGO's efforts gained national attention. Funding poured in, allowing them to expand their operations and help more survivors.